Man, hi.
All right, we're live, but we just haven't started yet, man.
That's what you think.
Ugh, let me turn this down. I just got a YouTube notification on my tablet that
We're live.
started. Yeah. In case I didn't know. All right. Hello and welcome to another episode of the SEGA Nerdcast. This is Chris. I don't like that. We're gonna have to start over. I don't like that one bit.
No, they're watching you right now.
Do you remember when we used
there
to
are
do
no
this
startovers.
like 1,000 times, Graham?
Oh
Back in
yeah.
the day?
You do it live.
Don't know why we're in there.
Start over. We're watching you right now. What's start over?
Well, we weren't live back then. We would record separately.
Yeah, that was the weirdest
You're
thing.
live
We were
now.
nervous, but we weren't live.
A bit.
It was funny. Oh, hang on.
Dun, 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 dun.
One second. I may fall asleep at some point.
That's
Please don't.
that's great.
6.4. I can't find what I did with the last outline that we had. It's weird.
We're actually still live. What the hell?
All right. All right. Oh well. Let's go. Are you guys ready?
We're live already, so
Hello and welcome to another episode of the SEGA Nerdcast. I'm Chris, the editor of SEGA Nerds. And with me this week are my buddies Graham and Marcin. How's it going, fellas?
Hey!
Man, so I'm sure many of our listeners have probably already seen or read some of the news, but we announced a new project that we've been working on for a very, very long time behind the scenes, that we are going to be creating a new SEGA magazine called Megavisions, and we're going to be going to Kickstarter tomorrow, but when you're listening to this, it may already be live. So hopefully, after you listen to this podcast, you'll be interested in it and you'll want to go check out the Kickstarter campaign, and then hopefully you want to back it. So today, what we're basically going to be doing is just kind of talking about some of the, I guess some of the history of how Megavisions came to be, and some of the content that we're going to have in it, some of the features, and that kind of stuff. So we'll go through that. We have another kind of cool announcement that we'll talk about later in the show. And Marcin, you're fresh from E3, so if we have some time, we'll get into some E3 talk at the end. And at the very least, we'll probably talk about what game or announcement we were most excited to hear or see there. So yeah, let's get started. Graham, we've been talking about doing a magazine for a while now, right? I mean, for a few years at least.
Yeah, definitely.
And so one of the things, for me at least, why I think it's good for us to do a magazine, or for there should be a magazine for SEGA, is, for one, I think there's something that is man, this is like throwing me off. I hear someone's audio in the background for some reason.
It's probably going to be mine, isn't it?
No, probably.
Do you have your background audio?
Could you hear it just then?
No, but all right, we'll start that bit over. This is a working podcast. We're gonna have to do some edits on this one. It sucks. I'm talking. I can hear myself talk back to me. It's throwing me off. I can still hear it, by the way.
Keep talking.
What? Hello, 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 hello. I can't hear it anymore.
You sure about
Okay, it's
that?
me then.
Oh no. Yeah.
How? What it's probably doing is probably your. I wonder if your headphone, your mic is picking up your speakers.
Like the headphone speakers?
Because his speakers in his headset. Try turning your volume down a little bit, Graham.
I have now.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
really quiet. Yeah.
All right, I'll tell you what. Just mute yourself when you're not talking. When you're not talking. Let's try that. Can you easily do that? Okay, cool.
Thumbs up means yeah.
All right, so let's start that over. Let me see.
We're 5 minutes into our podcast.
Hey, this is the unofficial. This is the rough cut. This is never supposed to be like the A-list podcast version. If you want to listen to that, you gotta listen to the audio version because that one's the one we actually edit. Okay. All right. So if you were listening or reading the website this past week, you probably saw our announcement that we are going to be doing a SEGA video game magazine. God, I hate that. Man, this sucks. I'm sucking so bad today. Man.
Bloody hell, dude.
I know. All right, we'll start this over. I'm just trying to think now back where it started all going to shit, where we need to go back to.
From the beginning.
Start at the beginning. Fuck it. You know what? We're just going to start all back at the beginning. So, all right. Hello and welcome to the SEGA Nerdcast, episode 106. I'm Chris, the editor of SEGA Nerds, and with me this week are my buddies Graham and Marcin. How's it going, fellas?
Hey, how's it going?
Dude, how's it going, dude?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. So, our listeners out there, if you've been reading the website this past week or following us on social media, you might have seen our announcement that we're going to be bringing to market a digital SEGA magazine. And so we've been working on this for a really, really long time, and we're super excited to announce it. And we're going to be going to Kickstarter tomorrow, which if you're listening to the audio version, it's actually probably going to be Monday, and it will probably already be live by the time you listen to this. So what we hope you do is you listen to this podcast, you go check out the Kickstarter campaign, and then hopefully if you like what you see and you want to help us achieve this dream that we're trying to accomplish, that you consider investing in it and help us make it happen, because without all of our readers and everyone else out in the community making this happen and help contributing to it, there's no way we're going to be able to make it happen. So what we're going to do today then is talk a little bit about how we got the idea to be able to create a magazine, some of the content that's going to be in it, why we're going through Kickstarter, and some of that kind of stuff. So hopefully you'll get a good idea of what Megavisions actually is going to be. And then we also have a kind of a small announcement at the end. So let's kick things off. And so the idea behind Megavisions, we've been talking about this kind of behind the scenes for well over a year now, maybe a couple years. And we actually started preliminary work on the magazine about a year ago, right, Graham?
Yeah, as you say, we've been going a few years. It's always sort of cropped up in the past, and I guess just over a year ago we actually sort of thought, let's do this. It seemed like the right time. I guess we really kicked it off just over a year ago. So it's kind of been a long time in the making, really. Yeah.
And that's the thing, though, is like, I mean, if you look out, around the internet, there are so many different websites out there. There's so many different Sega community sites, fan sites, and so many of them are great. I mean, they're all really good. They all kind of offer their own style of content and things like that. But most of them are still just posting the same information. It's any news that comes out, it's the same kind of news, and the actual original kind of content isn't. There's not a lot of it out there, and so I wanted to do something different with this magazine and really be able to create something special for the community And there's always something, for me at least, I'm a huge fan of video game magazines. I have a ton of them, and I remember as a kid I just loved to sit and read them. I would read them all the time. So I have this kind of affinity for video game magazines, and I always thought there was something special about being a fan of either one of the companies, or whether it's Sega or Nintendo or Sony or Microsoft, whatever it is, that you have your own magazine to kind of call your own for that chosen company. And for the longest time, Sega did have a magazine, whether it was Sega Visions, Mean Machine Sega, the official Dreamcast magazine, or the Dreamcast magazines in the UK. There was a lot of different options throughout the years, but once the Dreamcast went away, so did the kind of unofficial or official Sega magazines. And so we've gone probably, maybe 15 years or so, close to 15 years without being like a real official Sega magazine or unofficial magazine. It's been a long time, right?
Definitely 15 years, because I mean they stopped making those magazines right after, they got out of the console business. Because you don't really need an official Dreamcast magazine if there's no Sega Dreamcast in the market. So it's been 15 years, and I think at this point, especially with Sega, I think there's absolutely a market for it. I think there's a huge fan base that's really dedicated to specifically Sega stuff, and I think that a Sega-based magazine is something that since it doesn't exist, is I think necessary for Sega fans to actually say, hey man, there's a Sega magazine, we could check it out, read it. There's going to be new content and interviews and all that fun stuff. So really sorely lacking and very necessary. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, I mean, I think the time is right. I mean, of course, Sega could be in better positions, either financially or market share and things like that. But the fact is, I mean, there's still a ton of Sega news that's coming out all the time between Sega and Atlas, but beyond just the current stuff, one of the things that we definitely want to be able to do a lot is retro coverage in the magazine, and that ranges from just reviewing old Sega and Atlas games, or doing like these big spreads for retrospectives, and really kind of digging into a video game or a video game series, or like going back and talking about a certain developer, or maybe things like that. So we want to be able to really go back into the Sega's history, whether it's console games, arcades, handhelds, all those kinds of things, and really kind of show that history and lineage throughout the years in the magazine. So we're going to have a lot of different coverage from like the new stuff to retro stuff. It's all going to be in there. So it's going to be this kind of an all-encompassing magazine. And so what we basically want to be able to do is, like, each issue comes out, and you'll be able to look at that. You'll be able to get caught up on all the the news that's happened between issues. You'll be able to see reviews of all the latest games that were released by Sega, the new stuff. But then you'll also be able to get interviews with some awesome developers or people in the community, or current Sega developers. Retrospectives, other features and columns that are only going to be in Megavision. So that's one of the things that we want to talk about too, is that the content that's going to be in Megavisions is going to be exclusive to Megavisions. It's never going to be published anywhere else. So the stuff that you read on Sega Nerds, that's going to be just for Sega Nerds. And then the stuff in Megavision is only going to be for Megavisions. It's kind of like, I want to almost equate it to the WWE brand split that they just announced that they're going to be doing between Raw and SmackDown. It's kind of like our own version of the brand split. So we're having the Sega Nerds content there, but we're going to be able to do things different in Megavisions, where it's the style of how we review games and that kind of stuff. It's all going to be different, and it's all going to feel very unique to Megavisions. And that's one of the things that we're going to be very deliberate about. We're going to make sure we do that, and we want to capture some of the essence of what made those old magazines so fun. So, for instance, like in the official Dreamcast magazine, I love the feel that all the articles had. Like you really felt that the staff were such a tight-knit team, like almost a family, and it was such a fun and laid-back magazine. And it was almost like you see all those different PR videos that came out like during the 16-bit era and with Sega and Nintendo, where they're trying to show these like hip, cool kids, and it always came off like cheesy. But what the official Dreamcast magazine did, without really trying to do it, is like they were able to capture that essence of just being like, you know, kind of the fun kids that you wanted to be friends with. And they did it because they were being genuine, and they weren't trying to be this or that. It was just themselves, but the way they captured it and the way they expressed themselves in the magazine through their coverage was awesome. And so if we could just tap into a little bit of that and kind of have that breakthrough in the magazine, I think that'll be awesome. And that's, you know, one of the things that we certainly hope to do. So the idea is to bring the magazine out to Kickstarter. Our Kickstarter launches on June 20th, and it's going to go all the way up into, I believe, July 18th. It's going to be about 31 days. We're looking to raise $13,000 for a full year of publication. The magazine is going to be bi-monthly, so it's going to be 6 issues. And so that might sound, I don't know, to the layman out there, if $13,000 sounds like a lot, or people who actually, you know, probably are in the business or know any experience in magazines, they'll know that is not a lot of money at all. So we're really doing the operations, the minimum that we're looking at doing, $13,000 is really the minimum it's going to take to be able to get this thing off the ground and running, because we're having to pay developers or designers, artists, writers, all this stuff. Like, the way we're doing this, we want to really do it right, and we don't want to. It's not just, you know, a few, you know, Sega fans out trying to create their own magazine. Like, we're really taking time to do this right. And so at the very beginning, we reached out and we got some of the original designers from the official Dreamcast magazine. What are some others? Next Generation magazine, I believe, and a few others. And they helped us design the early concepts of what Megavisions is going to be. So they really helped set us on the right track to be able to get those original, like, feelings of those old Sega magazines, but also create kind of a unique identity of its own. And we're going to go to Kickstarter to try to, you know, raise this money and make it happen. And the thing is like we said at the beginning, we definitely need all the community to kind of rally around and help us build this, spread the word, because if you want a Sega magazine, if you want to be able to make this happen, we're definitely going to need your help with that. So I think one of the biggest questions, Graham and Marcin, that we're going to get through this is why are we going digital and not print? And so I'll leave it to you guys. Why do you think that we're doing this?
I have to say, I think the main things is probably down to the money. Simply because while we've said 13,000 might sound on some people, trying to make a proper print magazine is so much more money. It's ridiculous. We did look into it originally, and it's almost untenable for us, basically. I mean, a lot of people do see the print magazine industry is a landslide, which in some ways it is. I mean, there's still some great gaming magazines, don't get me wrong, and stuff, but you know, there are some that have shut down, and it just trying to get it, especially one that's accessible. Especially, that's the other thing. We've built, like Sega Nerds, and it's a website. Anyone can access it. We kind of for Megavisions as well. We want people in America, Europe, Asia. We want everyone to be able to access it. And digital's basically the easiest way we can do that. And it's also, I mean, yeah, I guess that's the answer, really.
Right. I mean, like Graham said, is when we first started out with this idea to create a Sega magazine, what we wanted to do originally was looking to print and do a print and digital version, but as we did more and more research, we came to realize like how much it's going to cost, how much upfront money that you're going to really have to put into it. Just for each issue, you're talking $4,000 to $5,000 to be able to get to be able to buy enough bulk copies or issues to be able to get the cost to the consumer down to a reasonable amount of dollars, where there's like $5 to $6 per issue. And if you do go through a different service like Magster, which is kind of like a print-on-demand physical magazine service, those things are ridiculously expensive. It's like upwards of probably like close to $15 per issue. And so it's just, the more we did more research on it, it wasn't feasible for us right out of the get-go. And so we really made a decision, like, you know what? Let's focus on digital and go this route. And then we're, down the line, we're keeping that option open, down the road. If the demand is there for a print magazine and we can grow the readership enough to where it can be sustained, we would love to be able to do that, down the line. So we're keeping that option open, but for now we're going to go forward with digital because it's going to make a lot of sense for us. And I think when our readers and our listeners get their hands on the digital magazine, look at it and see what it is, they'll understand why it makes sense to be digital and why it wouldn't translate very well to a print magazine. And so, Graham, I want you to talk a little bit about some of the reasons why, like some of the features that this magazine is going to have that no other Sega magazines has ever been able to do before now.
That's cool. Because that's the thing. As we sort of came to realize that print probably wasn't the way we could go because of cost or whatever, we started to look into options for digital magazine. And I had a background in print publication and digital publication. One of my companies I worked at, we used to use this great company called Magazine Cloner, who helps put all our magazines live on digital. The magazines at my old company, and a lot of magazines do this, when they go digital, they literally take their print edition, PDF, and then upload it. So when you're on your iPad or whatever, you've got the magazine there, it's fine, but you have to sort of pinch and zoom to get it. What we can do with MagCloner is our magazine designed directly for tablet and mobile phones as well. So there's no pinching and zooming. It design it so it lays out perfectly on your screen. And what we're doing with it is we're not making it so it goes left to right like a normal page. We can actually have it going up and down. It includes scrolling text boxes, panoramic images, full 360-degree images as well. So if we got a department, for example, like say that fingers crossed, so we got a Dreamcast 2, and we get a version of it, we could zine and actually have it so that you, the reader, can literally see the whole Dreamcast. So you can look at it from all the angles. That's what we can do with it. We can embed videos and full galleries. It's very interactive. That's the great thing about this magazine. It's not simple flicking the page. It's not just reading it on a screen. You get to manipulate the pages in certain ways, and you think that you can actually get a lot more out of it. Basically, the way it works and the way it's designed, it's very fluid. I think that's the best way I can describe it. It's a fluid, interactive magazine experience, really, and that's what we want to do. While we want to bring back days of like Dreamcast magazine, Sega Visions, and Mean Machine Sega, we want to encompass that, but we want to bring it into the future a bit, make it more modern, make it work for you, and really at the end of the day, all this is actually making it kind of easier for us, because the print side of things would be fantastic. We love print magazines, but this is a bit more modern. Also, as we say, it's easier for us to do. It's less up from, and it's a bit more manageable. We can get it to all of you out there very easily via the app stores. That's a great thing. It's not just going to be on Apple. It's not just going to be on Android. It's going to be on all. You can get it on Apple. You can get it on Windows. You can get it on Amazon as well. It's there. It's for all the platforms, and it's fantastic. That's what we're really excited about, basically getting it live and stuff. So yeah. Is there any other features to more detail, Chris, or?
Well, one of I think you covered it as far as like the kind of the features of the magazine pretty well, but I don't know if you touched on the fact that it's going to be able to be it's basically going to scale to every device that you have. So for your smartphone, for your tablets, or for your computer, you'll be able to look at it, and it's going to be designed like it's going to have a design that's going to fit perfectly like for that device. And so if you just want to read it quickly, like while you're on the subway or where you're traveling or whatever, or maybe you're just taking a break at work and you want to read an issue, you can just flip through it on your phone. Or if you're sitting down at home later on and you have your tablet with you, you'll be able to look at it on that, and it will take a more like scaled version for your tablet or for your computer, that whatever you're using. So one of the great things I think is about it, like it's going to be able to be used on any device that you have. And I think people, once they get a hold of it, are really going to enjoy that aspect of the magazine.
Yeah, definitely. Well, fingers crossed they do. I'm pretty excited by it.
So, hey, Marcin, why don't you talk a little bit about maybe some of the other like as far like content that we're gonna have. Do you want to like talk to us about some of the different like features and columns and stuff like that?
Sure. So we're gonna have all sorts of different types of content inside the digital magazine. One thing that's beautiful about digital magazine is that we could add as much content as we want without limiting it to, let's say, 60 or 70 pages. And we've been brainstorming a bunch of ideas, but some of the stuff are like your reviews and previews. So there are going to be a bunch of cool SEGA games that are coming out in the future. You're going to have Persona 5, you're going to have Yakuza 0, you're going to have Shenmue 3, you're going to have the next Sonic the Hedgehog game. So, we're going to have previews and reviews for those games. We're going to have retrospectives on, numerous games in SEGA's past. So really expect, in-depth backgrounds, from people who are very talented at what they do. They do their research. It's going to be incredibly, well thought out and, written. We're going to have cover stories based on, the game that's, really, focused of that month. So, like, let's just say, for example, if we had the magazine come out around February, and there's the Shenmue demo that comes out, we're going to write a feature based on Shenmue, Yu Suzuki, his development process, things like that. We'll have interviews with people in the business, developers and producers and graphic artists and all that stuff. But in addition to that, we'll have things that I think people enjoy about magazines, like the mailbag and art sections. You could send us your art, send us your letters and your questions that you have, and we'll be able to answer them for you. We're going to have a Megavision Spotlight. So you guys might remember that on our website we do a Sega Nerd Spotlight. We'll have exclusive spotlights in the magazine that that will highlight or spotlight, for lack of a better word, like collectors and cosplayers and musicians and artists and people that are real fans of Sega and do some pretty amazing things in their life, and we really want to highlight it. So I mean, it could be one of our listeners. If you guys are rabid Sega fans and you do something pretty cool, you could be in our magazine and we could feature you in it. And I think that's fantastic to include the community as a part of this magazine. And I think that's another thing that we will do very well is listen to you. So we're gonna listen to your feedback. We're gonna if you have ideas for new content, a new section, do you want us to create a Sonic comic, or a comic based on a character, or things like that. That as an example. But you're going to be involved in as much of the process as we're involved. So it's going to be really community centered, and I think it'll be great. So
I think that's an important topic that you brought up, and I'm glad you did, because I forgot to bring it up earlier. But so one of the things, like, we're absolutely going to be listening to our contributors from the Kickstarter. So once the Kickstarter's over, and hopefully, if we're successful, what we're going to do is we're going to set up an exclusive forum on our website that all the Kickstarter backers are going to be able to access to, and we're going to be able to take your feedback from there. We're going to be issuing like different polls and surveys throughout the process of creating our first issue and getting feedback from everyone. And the idea is to really just be able to shape the magazine to be something that everyone wants. We have kind of a vision for it in our head, a mega visions, right? In our head of where we want it to go, but
Fun.
We really want that feedback from our readers. We want them to be able to help shape this magazine and help create it with us. So like you said, Marcin, we're going to be listening to feedback, and we're really going to be reaching out a lot to be able to get that feedback from our readers and contributors. So we're really excited to be able to do that. And so once you read through the Kickstarter campaign, you'll see that in many of the different tiers that you'll be able to get access to the forums and things like that. So if you back the project, you'll 100% have a say in what happens in the magazine, and that goes from like what Marcin said. Just maybe you want to offer up a game that we should review, or something, or a series that we should do a retrospective on, or something like that. You'll be able to do that in the forums, and we will constantly be monitoring that and engaging. The whole team will be engaging with our backers throughout that whole process. And so let's see here. I want to go back a little bit because I touched on it a bit, but we kind of skimmed over it and went on to something else. So I said earlier how we were working with some of the original developers or designers of the official Dreamcast magazine, and so they really paved the way to help us create that our Zero issue, which you will see in our Kickstarter campaign.
Dad.
Oh, now Odin's coming. What is it, buddy?
I'll play game on here.
Okay, I'll let you play in a minute. Okay, let's go downstairs for a little bit and go play, and then I'll come and get you. Okay.
I can't play on that TV. Chris is for Sonic.
Christopher's on that TV, huh?
Yeah, I'll play on here.
He wants to play the Retro Freak. It's not gonna. All right, so where was I? This is great. This is one of my most favorite aspects of living with children, is that they constantly come and interrupt me. So this is what you guys can look forward to when you get married or have children. Is this?
Oh,
I know. So we were working with the original designers or developers of the official Dreamcast magazine. They really helped create that our look and feel of the magazine, and we've been able to translate that into the digital version. But one of the things that I'm really excited about too is that our covers are going to be really, really awesome. Oh God, dang it, God, Odin, you're killing me, man. All right, let's see here. Let's see, what should I let him play? So.
I want to play.
What do you want to
Barbie
play?
goes shopping.
Goat game.
You want to play what?
Goat game.
The Ghost game?
The goat game.
Oh, he wants to play Goat Simulator. They didn't make Goat Simulator for the Sega Genesis. So I'm sorry, buddy.
They make it.
Someone
don't
will
have it
probably
on
make
here.
a homebrew game of the Goat Simulator.
On that TV.
Oh, let me see. You want to play Streets of Rage?
Yeah.
Okay.
I play it.
Here, you can play this.
I play it.
You remember. You've played it before. So, there you go. Here. This is awesome. I love this. I love being a father. This is on Father's Day. I love it. You can be Axel. He's my favorite.
Yeah. Poor Adam.
Adam was always the one, or that your friend would have to be, like when he'd come over to play with you. So.
Although he's pretty badass. He's pretty tough. One punch. Ugh.
Yeah, but let's see here. He doesn't want to be Axel. Maybe he wants to be Adam. Here, let me see here. We'll edit this part out. All right, Odin, which one do you want to be? Do you want to be him? Oh, he wants to be Blaze. Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
He wants to be a chick.
That's Blaze.
That's Blaze. Yep.
That's a girl.
Yeah, it's a girl. She's pretty good too. So,
She's hot.
so going back, one of the things I'm really excited about is our covers, because I think for a magazine, the cover is incredibly important. And while we're not going to have a physical magazine on newsstands and on the magazine rack to compete with everyone else, I think it's still incredibly important to have a really awesome magazine. And one of the things I've noticed that a lot of other video game magazines do is they just use kind of like a recycled PR art or art that you can get, like digital art that the video game companies release, and they use that, and that's what they kind of base their cover around. And so I didn't want to do that. I wanted something very special. And so we're working with a video game artist. His name's Rob Duenas, and he has created a ton of awesome covers throughout the years. He did Play Magazine for a long time. He's done Retro Magazine. And he's done a bunch of others, and he's done inside designs. He's done covers. He's good. He's really awesome. So he's going to be creating entirely original designs for each and every issue of Megavisions, and I think it's going to be super awesome. And I'm really excited about that. So I wanted to open it up to you guys. How do you think that is going to play into the whole magazine?
Well, I think that the idea of actually having a specific cover in the magazine is actually going to be really, really cool. So like you said before, a lot of magazines, Game Informer and at one point Electronic Gaming Monthly and Nintendo Power and all that stuff, they had covers based on pre-existing like you said, pre-rendered graphics. So you had Mario that looked like Mario, and it was basically blown up on a cover. With our magazine, and with ones like Retro and Play, we're gonna have Sega specific art made for each issue. So the 6 issues that we're gonna have are gonna have a special cover, and I think we could say that each cover will become one image, which I think is going to be really cool. So that'll be an exclusive. I think that's something I think people will be really interested in, especially people who are real Sega fanatics. The art that is going to be created by Rob Duenas is going to be fantastic. We've seen some of his previews and stuff, and the things that he's going to do, and especially during this Kickstarter, he's going to be doing like live drawings, so you guys can actually watch him draw upcoming magazine covers. It's just going to be really special, and I think that including a custom art cover for the magazine is going to be really something that sets apart from other, company-focused magazines. Like
right, and one of the things that I really want to be one of our top priorities, and this is, from the very beginning, is we want to make sure that every reader that we have, every subscriber that we have, feels like they're getting their money's worth, and we want to make sure that their investment that they're putting into the magazine, they feel like it's worth it. So that's why we're going out and getting and working with these professionals who've been in the video game business for a long time, and it's not just your regular old just content that we've been posting on the website or anything like that. So this is going to be just exclusive content for the magazine that you can only get in the magazine, and we have a lot more exciting announcements that we're going to be announcing during the Kickstarter campaign. I think people in the community are really going to be excited to hear some of these. But we're, not only have we worked with, designers and artists who've been in the industry for a long time, but we're also bringing in writers who've been involved in Sega magazines from the past that we've talked about already. We're bringing in other people that have a ton of great knowledge about Sega and are really good at writing about that and sharing that knowledge. So we're bringing in a lot of people from outside of Sega Nerds into Megavisions to be able to create this magazine. So it's not a magazine that's solely being created by the guys at Sega Nerds. I mean, we're primarily the ones behind it. We're as far as like the editorial team, right, is us. But we won't be able to create this magazine alone and without the people who we've been working with. And so once as the weeks go by and we announce more of these things, I think people are going to be really excited about it. So I can't say enough, but we can't talk about everything just yet because some things are secrets, and we wanted to keep those things special for when we announce it. So I'm trying to think like what else we should discuss about the magazine. I guess that covers most of everything. One of the things that we want to announce as well is that we're going to Too Many Games. It's a annual video game expo out in Oaks, Pennsylvania, outside of Philly, that I've been going to for probably the last 4 years now, and it's one of my favorite video game conventions just because it's still relatively small when you compare it to something like a PAX or even MagFest. MagFest has gotten so huge over the years. Too Many Games is still relatively small, but there's a ton of awesome people that go to it each year. So we're going to have Keith Apicary is going to be there this year again, which I'm really excited about because he was there a couple of years ago and he had this hilarious concert where inside the concert area, the power went completely out, and he just started climbing. He was like climbing up the walls and up along these. It was insane. It was crazy, and it was really funny. And so
I saw him at E3 actually, but I didn't like run up to him because he was recording something. He was doing like some kind of dance in the middle of the like the show floor. I don't know what he was recording it for. Probably some live stream, but yeah. He's a fun guy.
He's going to be there. James Rolfe and the Angry Video Game Nerd and a bunch of others. But anyway, so we're going to have a booth at Too Many Games, and at the booth, people can come by and see the Kickstarter. We're going to have computers and tablets set up, so you can come by and look at the Kickstarter campaign page. We're also hoping to have a very early version of the digital edition, the Zero issue, which will not be a part of the launch issue. It's a separate Zero issue, kind of a proof of concept.
Yeah, demo.
Yeah, essentially it's a demo that Graham has been working on for quite a while now, and so we're still working out some of the kinks on it. But we're hoping to be able to show that so that way people can kind of pick it up and see some of the functionality and that kind of thing. I'm also bringing my Retro Freak there as well, so people can come by and play games, and we're gonna hopefully have some contests where people can win some prizes or things like that there as well. So this is gonna be exciting. This is the first booth that we've ever run or I've ever kind of been a part of, and so there's been a lot of work that we've been putting into just having a booth at Too Many Games. There's a lot to do with that, and so I'm super excited about that. Marcin, you're flying in. When are you coming in again?
Thursday morning.
Oh yeah, Thursday morning. I keep forgetting. So you'll have to remind me, or else I'll forget to pick you up.
I might have to take an Uber. Or be like Tom Hanks in the terminal and live there for like a day.
And so Jason from the site, he's also going to be coming. Marcin, you're going to be there. The Requiem might make an appearance there. Let's see.
Mask and all?
What's that?
Mask and all?
Yeah, he may show up in his mask. And then James, we're hoping, is going to make an appearance, but I don't know if he's going to come. And so we're hoping to have a lot of us there, just kind of being able to talk to potential readers and hopefully spread the word is what we want to do there, and just talk to. I love just meeting new people at these conventions and talking about favorite video games, favorite video game memories, things like that. I love it. I think it's great, and so it's going to be super exciting. I'm really looking forward to this because it's going to be going to a video game convention from an entirely different kind of perspective. As someone who goes to look at booths and to see what kind of things are going to be there for me, I get to actually and we get to be on the other side of that where we are trying to show something to people who are attending the show. So it's going to be pretty cool. I'm really excited about it.
We should build a lucky hit board. I'll just get like a 2x4 and just hammer some nails in there, and then
that actually is a really good idea.
That'd be a really cool idea.
All right, Marcin, you have to build a lucky hit board now.
Well, I can't take it to the airport, so we're gonna have to build it at your place.
Shit.
Can't bring a board with nails. Yeah, this isn't my carry-on. It's an art piece. I'm not trying to hijack this plane.
Would be okay with you? Or Spirit, I mean? You think Spirit
Definitely
Air
not.
would be?
Definitely not. TSA would be up my ass, literally, because there's like, well, what is this guy? What else is this guy hiding?
So Thursday morning, you get here. That has to be what we do. We have to build a lucky hit board.
All right. It doesn't have to be special. Just be like a smiley face or some shit like behind it. And
maybe
then,
we put like maybe we'll have like see if we can print out the Megavision's logo behind it, or we can maybe even do a Shenmue.
Actually, this is a really good idea. We could totally, we should make it, and then like at the bottom they have like some X's, and then if they reach the circle, could give them a prize or something. So.
Maybe we could do it if they reach the prize. Then they will, we'll take down their email address, and then we can give them.
If they lose, they have to give us money.
Well, I was gonna say they could win like the first issue of Megavisions.
Oh yeah, it's actually.
And then we can send them a voucher code
on
for
the
that.
spot thinking right here.
So.
Good idea.
So you guys can see how much planning has gone into this. There's been a lot of planning.
This is actually how the planning process goes. It's like, yeah, this is a good idea. Yeah, we came up with this 2 days ago, actually.
Yeah, the contest and the actual game portion of it, we've not really done a whole lot of planning on. But as far as the other stuff, we have. So Graham has designed like these awesome flyers that we're gonna have. And so if you go, you're free to take one. It has a QR code that you'll be able to scan, and you'll be able to go to our Kickstarter profile page, which you'll be able to see a link to be able to go to our actual Kickstarter campaign. We'll also have like a nice little banner spread across our table that shows all about the magazine and everything like that. So we're super excited. Obviously has still some more work to do as far as the game and contest side of things.
It's a work in progress. 3 days left.
It is a work in progress. Okay, real quick before we head out, let's talk E3. We're just real fast. Let's go around the room. What was your favorite either video game that you saw that you played, because Marcin was the only one of us who actually went to E3 this year.
Yeah. I'm long-winded though. You can't tell me real quick, because then I'll just go off on a tangent for like 20 minutes. But
okay, so what I'll do then is Graham and I will go first, and then we'll leave you like on the left.
To see if anything's left, and you just cut off the feed.
Graham is the worst these days about keeping up with news and stuff like that. So I wanted to put you on the spot first, Graham.
Make something up.
Anything? Was there anything that you saw or read that came from E3 that got you excited?
There are three things: Dead Rising 4, State of Decay 2, and while it's controversial, I'm kind of interested in the Xbox Scorpio. But yeah, there you go.
I do agree that was controversial, but yeah, go ahead. I would end up in a rant again. So Chris, you can go next.
I will say, if I if I did not already own an Xbox One, I would totally buy the Xbox One S. It looks awesome. I don't know what it is about video game fans, and I guess it extends to probably like mobile, like smartphone owners and things like that too. But if a company releases a video game system in a white color, everyone goes crazy when they release the black color. If they release it originally in black, everyone goes nuts when they release it in white. And so this is just that thing that they're doing. They're saying, oh, we've had a black version, now here is a white version.
Well, if they really want to go the phone way, they should just release in rose gold, because everything's in fucking rose gold now.
God, I hate that.
But, yeah. All right, keep talking, because I'm going to keep talking.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And so, I, like you, Graham, I'm super excited about the Scorpio. I think this is going to be... This might end up becoming the norm now for the video game industry, whereas it's going to be a constantly evolving life cycle for these systems, where it's not just we're going to go 10 years between the PS4 and the PS5. We're going to be getting these like every couple of years. They're going to be built on the same infrastructure, but they're going to be incremental steps beyond what the past one was, and so they're going to constantly get better. And you're either going to be able to choose, like, whether you want to upgrade to be able to take advantage of the increased power and things like that, or you're just going to stick with the system you have. And it's kind of what the smartphone industry has been doing for a long time. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see how people adopt that style in the console business.
And argument before as well. It's kind of also what PC gamers have been nations. Graphics cards will come out. Games will be designed specifically for the more advanced graphics cards. But there's still work on the older ones. You have the specs, and then like the required specs, basically, or like minimum, or then the higher end ones. So yeah, you can opt to play the PC game and still get it all the stuff, but you may not have quite as good graphics. And that's sort of what the direction's doing. It's kind of annoying though, because you are paying, I guess, pay another like £300, £400 for a new console. But I am very kind of interested, because especially from what the Xbox Scorpio is, that considering the Xbox One was quite underpowered compared to the PS4, what they're talking about the Xbox Scorpio is a massive step up, which it's kind of surprised me. But that's what I'm excited about as well. I think it's pretty cool. There you go.
Yeah, I totally lost my train of thought after you went on that rant.
Sorry, dude.
That's okay. So, two things that I have to talk about as far as my big announcements that sent me crazy. One was that there's going to be a Berserk video game coming out. I am a huge fan of Berserk. I have a Berserk tattoo right there. I love I've read a ton of the manga. I've watched all the anime that's come out, including the new movies that were released. I just love the series so much. I have the original the PlayStation 2 version that was released. It was released only in Japan. I own that. Obviously, I own the Dreamcast Sword of Berserk Guts Rage, which that was what actually introduced me to the whole Berserk series and kind of got me into it. And it was amazing because playing just that game, you get such a small slice of what Berserk is. And then once I got opened up to the anime, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then I started reading the manga, and there was just so much more to that. And so I'm really excited now, because I think Berserk, from a story and standpoint, there's just so much that could be told there. And I think it could be translated to a video game so well. I mean, his gigantic sword, it's awesome, and I'm really excited to be able to finally get to be able to go back in and play inside that universe again. And I'm looking forward to it. So I guess it's the developers that have made a lot of like the Dynasty Warrior games, and so it's going to be kind of these big open like battles, and you'll be able to go around and just hack people down with that giant sword, which is going to be amazing. The second one comes from Microsoft, and that is when they announced that the original Phantom Dust is going to be coming to Xbox One. Now, I am a huge Phantom Dust fan. I was one of the ones that was kind of railing on about Phantom Dust and how awesome it was when it was originally released on the Xbox back in the day. And I think Graham, I have been like pestering you for the last 10 to 12 years about getting this game. Isn't that right?
Yeah. The only thing is, it didn't come out over here. So every time you were talking about it, I was like, what? See, every time you mentioned it, I remember there was a Phantom something here, which was like a mech game. And every time I looked at it, I was like, this is not the game he's talking about. And then finally, when I went to your house a few years ago, you got me to play it. And while it's probably not my kind of game that I'd normally look at, when I played it, freaking awesome. It was really good fun. I can completely agree and see why you love it so much. But it's so funny, all the time you want to get this game, and it's like, okay, and I look at it, I can't find it. It didn't come out over here.
It's weird because they announced it a couple years ago it was essentially going to be either be a kind of a remastering or a sequel to the original game, and they were going to be doing a lot of different balancing and changes to the game, but they ended up firing the development company, and nothing was heard about the game for a long time. And so this is one of the things I said on the podcast was like, I want something Phantom Dust related at E3, even if it was just the original game brought onto the Xbox One. And so that is exactly what's happening, and I can't be more thrilled about it. That basically those two games made my E3. There was a ton of other great things that they showed, but those two games was what made me go crazy. So, Marcin, over to you.
Just a quick rant about that Xbox thing. So I don't really get it from a marketing perspective, because I don't think consoles really work like how phones work. So yeah, the phones have their family of the Edge Plus, and whatever the hell else they got there, but I think consoles are a different beast, and I kind of think consoles are different from a PC. Because, yeah, they'll be releasing incremental changes, but in my eyes, it just looks like they're just releasing another console generation, and they're shorter by like 2 or 3 years. And then, from a marketing perspective, it's like, all right, we just announced the Xbox One S. It's coming out in August. And then at the end of the speech, like, oh, by the way, here's a more powerful console that's coming out in a year. So I think most people will be like, well, fuck the S. Let me get the Scorpio because it's coming out in a year, right? So who would want to buy the S if they're like, it's going to be the most powerful thing ever? Buy it, man. So, like, you hype up people for the Scorpio, so who the fuck is going to want an S? And I don't know. That's how I see it.
I completely agree. I do think it's a weird timing. That's why I sort of said it's a crucial thing for me to like. I'm excited by it, but at the same time, I think... Yeah, it's kind of bizarre. It's really weird.
I feel like Microsoft just pressed the panic button because they're getting their ass kicked by Sony, so they're like, well, we're kind of done with Xbox One, so here's a PlayStation, or here's our next version. And doesn't it look like kind of like what SEGA did? They kept releasing a peripheral after peripheral, and add-on after an add-on, and then they ran out of business. Yeah, it's in terms of the console business.
But I do think Microsoft almost had to do this simply because it's the PS4 Neo. They're making that, and it's more PS4, and the PS4 is already more powerful than the Xbox One. So Microsoft originally had the terrible PR stuff. Originally like always stuff, and everyone was like, no, we don't want that. Fuck you. And then
it's like, yes, we love an Orwellian console. Always on, monitoring your heart.
And also, having to buy it with the Kinects, it's the future of stuff, but no one really wanted the Kinects, and they got rid of the Kinects. So they had all this PR hassle, plus the Xbox wasn't as powerful as the PS4, which is a shame. And then Sony's going to release a new PS4, so it's almost like if Microsoft doesn't do this stupid, they're kind of damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. It's more, they're like they have to fire back against Sony. From my perspective, because I prefer Microsoft, old habits die hard. I just think, I want them to do it, and I hope they succeed. But it's kind of weird. I think I've got a feeling the Neo is more popular than the Scorpio still. But I guess we'll see what happens. It's going to be down to the games essentially.
But that's the other thing.
Exclusives.
So think about it from a developer's perspective. So you're releasing a game. You're supposed to release it on PlayStation 4 let's say the Nintendo NX, and then Xbox One and Project Scorpio. So then you know what I mean? If it's going to be the most powerful hardware, are you going to be releasing a more powerful version of that game? You know what I mean? Or is it just going to be a slightly souped up Xbox One game? You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
I'm not sure.
Like that.
Yeah.
If it's a family of stuff, then the developers are going to have to come up with a family, like, you know, multi-platform for Xbox, you know, Project Scorpio, and then, you know, the original Xbox One and whatnot. So I'm like, I don't know what their plan is.
I've heard two of the things. Also, to bear in mind, PS4 Neo, they've got on both PS4 Neo and the PS4, like all their games. So it's the Scorpio and Xbox One and the Neo and PS4 are all going to have the same games, like essentially. But there's the thing.
Right.
I've read two sides of the story here. In that, someone said that the developers are going to have to make almost two versions of the game. But someone else I read said they were a developer. I don't know if they were. You know, it's a forum basically. It's a website. They go, yeah, I'm a developer in the game industry.
And
they were saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, do.
Don't you go on Reddit?
They were basically saying that developers will be making games on the PC tech essentially. So they'll be designing games for almost basically for higher spec machines. And when they actually port it to a console, they tend to do it in a way, and that's sort of how they can. That's how they could put games on, like, you know, the Xbox 360 and PS3 and like to the Wii as well, for example, or the Wii U. They could, like, that's how they can develop games for all the platforms. Now the silent consoles, which are really underpowered, won't be able to handle some of the stuff they develop for, but it's almost better. Like if they're really, really powerful, they can aim for that spec. And then for the Xbox One and PS4 and stuff, they can reduce what they've already. And that's in a nutshell. That's how they described it. I don't know how much of that is bullshit.
Well, see, because then it just never. Yeah, but then it just never fully takes advantage of the potential of, like, the Scorpio. So if all you're doing is basically making the same game and you're just kind of, you know, eliminating shit here and there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I don't know. It's just going to be like the same game, just like a bit prettier, but it's not going to take advantage of it because it still has to be designed based around previous hardware. I'm just looking into it too much, but
I don't know. I think the key advantage is that the Scorpio over the Xbox One is it's going to be able to play in 4K and it's at 60 frames per second, which a lot of websites point. If there's like, for example, like a game releases on PS4 and Xbox One, is going to go, well, PS4 one's better because the frame rate's always locked. Xbox One goes, blah, 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 you know, all over the place.
Right.
They keep that stuff out, especially websites like Eurogamer. They focus on the game's great on both consoles. So yeah, the PS4 you can see distance, but I guess with the Scorpio, that's going to balance for Microsoft. Balance all that out. They're going to be like, yeah, we can do it 4K, we can do it at 60. You're going to get the smoothest experience of the game. Personally, I've seen both machines and I can't tell the difference from the eye. People sometimes seem to tell, but yeah, I think it's kind of ridiculous, but at the same time, I get it. I get it. Basically, yeah.
So that was my rant, but I guess we were trying to say best moment, because I think I just gave a rant about my least favorite moment. So I do think Sony won again, and here's why. I think that they cut to the chase and then just announced what people want to hear is games. I don't remember if it was Tom Kalinske or whoever said it in the book Console Wars, but like they said, the name of the game is the game, and I think they delivered the content that's about to be released. There was no, like, jerk off sessions where they were like talking about, yeah, this is how much shit we've sold and this is how much we're awesome. They're just straight to the game, and then after that they just announced the next one and the next one with maybe a small introduction to, like, Hideo Kojima, who came out and then showed us his cluster mindfuck trailer of God knows whatever the hell it was, but it was awesome. But I think Sony did it just because of their announcements. Things like, hey, you could play Resident Evil 7 on the PlayStation VR, which will will definitely make me shit my pants. I guarantee it. People were writing reactions about Resident Evil 7 because they actually had the VR at E3, the VR version, and they're like, it is pretty scary because you're completely blocked out from reality and you're in virtual reality, but it's like in your face, so it's just you're engrossed and enveloped in this house that it's based in, and you have headphones on, so all you're doing is seeing and hearing creepy, fucked up shit, and from your mind's perspective, like there's not much you can do, and I think that's an awesome next step in survival horror, is virtual reality, because you're forced to observe and look around, and if you hear something, like you'll really feel like you don't want to go up that staircase or open that door because you don't know what's going to happen because it's all in your face. So I think that was a fantastic announcement. Crash Bandicoot Remastered that they announced. First of all, I think it was a bit of a bait and switch because I thought it was going to be a completely new Crash Bandicoot game. Because he came out, because they've been teasing it for months. Like he was wearing the Crash T-shirt at the PlayStation Experience event in December, and they had small tweets and things like in Uncharted 4 they teased Crash Bandicoot, and the guy comes out with like a fucking Crash Bandicoot background, and then there's like a silhouette of Crash walking with him, so people assumed it was like a new game, and it kind of was. It was just Skylanders, right? So that was a bit of like, well, fuck. But he did announce that Crash Bandicoots 1, 2, and 3 are being remastered, and I'm pretty sure he said from the ground up. So if they pull a Ratchet and Clank type thing, I'm all for that shit. That'll be amazing.
I just gonna out and say this. I still think Crash Bandicoot is one of the worst franchises I've ever played in my life.
I think it's awesome. I think it's amazing.
It's like an endless running. All you do is run forward and jump. I don't get it. I didn't understand why it was fun. You just run a straight line and jumped. That's not fun to me.
Which one did you play?
The platforming was awesome.
I played 1, 2, and I played 1, 2 on the PlayStation. I did play one on the PS4. PS3. Wait, no, PS2. God, sorry. Played one on the PS2, which was a bit more of a proper 3D platform. But the first couple, I just was just like.
I don't know what you're talking about.
An endless run on it with my phone. Sorry, dude. If you love it,
that's each their own. I agree. Each their
own. I'm sorry. I just had to. Yeah, that's just one of those franchises.
No, yeah. But I love it. I really enjoyed it, and I can see why you preferred Microsoft then in that case, because I thought that was one of the highlights of Sony's. But the other thing, that Sony has up their sleeve is, fucking Hideo Kojima, who's pretty much working exclusively with Sony, and he's gonna create something amazing. Because I mean, even his worst titles, I can't even think of a bad one. Like maybe if you hated Metal Gear Solid 4 because it was like a cutscene fest, I don't know. But I still think the story and everything is amazing. So I think whatever he's coming up with, Norman Reedus, and in that trailer, that fetus, there's like a baby he's holding, and then some shit. I think it's going to be great, but it's not. It's ways away from being released. But like I said, it's just games and whatnot, and yeah.
Oh, I've got one thing. Go yes, Gravity Rush 2. There
you go.
Yes, I freaking loved the original one on the Vita, and I'm so excited for that. I'm stoked. It looks freaking awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, just a quick reaction from E3 because I was there a couple of days ago. I was a little overwhelmed. So, when you're waiting in line and it's like a long ass line, you have people waiting, and then they open the doors and then you enter. It's like it was really like entering like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. I was like, holy fuck! Look at all this shit that's in here. That IGN had their giant booth, and then GameSpot was right next to them, and then right to the right of that was the Turtle Beach setup, and then you go farther down and there's like Sega and Atlas have like a stage with. You guys can actually check out the video if you guys didn't watch it. a stage with Persona 5 stuff and people in like Persona hats, and they're giving away all this. It was just crazy. I really enjoyed it. It's exhausting because you're really rationing your food because everything there is like $12. So I think the main reason why it's exhausting because I didn't eat as much because I'm like, okay, well $12 for a pizza is a bit much. But it really what it really did was it reaffirmed my want in working in the game industry. You just interact with so many cool people, journalists and developers, and you're rubbing shoulders with people like Adam Boyes, and the creator of Yakuza was on the stage, and he was doing an autograph session and an interview session. I saw Aaron Weber, who does Sonic the Hedgehog's Twitter. I met him. I saw, Matt from Tails channel, and I saw Dan Sheridan, who does the Sega Europe thing, and he's like, hey, do you want to do a spot for Sega Central? I was like, fuck yeah. and that was like the first 6 minutes of me entering the E3 area. I went to the Sega booth and I bumped into Dan and I said, hey, how's it going? I said, nice to meet you and whatever. I don't know if I brought up the Megavisions magazine at that moment. I think I might have. And then after that, he asked if I wanted to be in the Sega Central thing, and I said, yeah, of course.
Sweet.
And then I exchanged business cards with a bunch of people. I exchanged it with Dan Sheridan, Sega of America's director of marketing. He was actually giving me a rundown of Sonic Boom, so when I had the appointment, he was there telling me about it and all that stuff. I told him about the Megavisions magazine, and I gave him my business card, and he gave me his. They said that they're willing to help out and share like our things. So that's a huge platform. So if Aaron Weber is able, on his Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter, to share our Megavisions magazine, that'd be fantastic. What was I gonna say? I just drew a blank. And yeah, like it's like you're just running into people like the president of fucking PlayStation's like just walking on the floor. The creator of Castlevania was right behind people who were playing Bloodstained, and he's telling people how to, play because some people were stuck in one spot. So he was like helping people out, and he was wearing like a small cowboy hat. It was funny. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Forza Motorsport 3 was there, and they had like a fucking Maserati in the center, just like rotating. It's just crazy. But that's like really like a thing that I'm looking forward to in the future, going every year, and just experiencing it with people and people I work with, and it's crazy. And see that I was ranting for like 15 minutes.
The awesome thing about next year's E3 is that we're going to be able to go to cover the event for Megavision. So this is going to be an entirely different way that we're going to do that. And Graham, one of these times we're going to have to get you out here.
God, yes.
Man, that would be awesome. So,
and,
I think that's going to do it for this week's episode. So, if you have listened to this and you're at all interested in the Kickstarter in Megavisions and helping us to try to get this thing off the ground and really going, please go out to Kickstarter, search Megavisions, or you can even go out to the Sega Nerds website, where we will have a post that will detail all the information where you can go to that. You can also follow us on Twitter at MegavisionsMag. Facebook is just Megavisions, and so you can find us on both of those. So we please go and like us and follow us. We'll be posting lots of information as the campaign goes on both of those social media accounts. But we'll also be, once the campaign ends, and if we are successful in the campaign, we're going to be just continuing to share the development of the magazine. And so if you're interested, definitely follow us there, and you'll be able to keep up to date with what we're doing with Megavisions. But please go check out the Kickstarter and let us know what you think. Either way, like if there's a reason why you don't want to contribute to the magazine or to the Kickstarter, please let us know, because maybe it's something that we can change or offer that that maybe would change your mind or maybe change other people's minds, because like I said, the magazine right now is at a time where we can build it and make it to whatever it is the community wants. There's no final designs or anything like that. We're building it as we go along, but we want to build it with the community's involvement and with the community's kind of say in everything. So please go check that out. I think it's going to do it. So we will hopefully have some stuff coming later on this week at Too Many Games as well. We're going to be trying to do lots of videos and content and have content coming out that throughout the weekend as well. So all right, that is going to do it, fellas. We will be back once again next week. All right, take it easy.
Stuff. Awesome. Catch you there.